Right, intersection improvement, Cashmere, Hoonhay, Worsleys. A significant. Shall we establish the Health and Safety Committee of Council first?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go to item 14. There was one point that I wanted to make about the health and safety, that it said meetings shall not be held fewer than 4 times a year, but it sort of seemed, I'd rather express it positively, that meetings shall be held at least 4 times a year.
Okay, we'll update that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that suggestion.
Was there, did anyone else have any, comment? Andrew, Phil?
I had a number of questions, and I'll apologise to Carleen before I ask this question, because discussing the Chief Executive's role in this committee with the Chief Executive in the room obviously requires some sensitivity. But I was interested in the recommendation that the Chief Executive be part of the decision-making body of the committee, the recommendation-making body of the committee, at the same time as I'm sure we would be seeking advice and assurance from the Chief Executive that the organisation is doing what we would want it to do from a health and safety viewpoint. So the responsibilities, item 2, seek assurance that the organisation is effectively structured to manage health and safety. I would imagine that advice would be coming from the Chief Executive, who in this model is also sitting on the committee as a decision-making member. And I know that can present difficulties with having one person essentially on both sides of the table, if you like, and I just wanted to get some commentary around that.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly, we were sort of trying to get the, consider that, but that's good feedback, and we wouldn't necessarily, we've previously reported up to the Audit and Risk Committee on health and safety issues. So,
which the Chief Executive sits on.
Yes, so
actually,
we sort of use that as a model.
It may not be a universal point of view that the Chief Executive shouldn't be a member of it. Audit and Risk, the Chief Executive is a member, and it seemed to me that since the framework, came from, or the idea, the concept came from Audit and Risk, it seemed to me to make sense to have the Chief Executive there, because we would have someone from Human Resources reporting, presumably.
The Audit and Risk Committee doesn't confer voting rights on the Chief Executive for that committee.
So if you read under secretarial meetings, it talks about the committee may have in attendance such members of management, including the Chief Executive Officer. I sense that this has been a bit like the principal advisor role in terms of the, because of the importance of this committee to the organisation and to governance.
So maybe to put the question slightly differently then, the intention in this report is that the Chief Executive would be a member of the committee, as in a decision-making member of the committee, but also accepting that the Chief Executive would have a role in advising that committee as well.
I think that's
it's a question rather than a statement, because I'm just keen to understand the background to the formation of the committee. I'm certainly not taking a view at this stage on whether I think the Chief Executive should be a part of the decision-making body or not. It's a question just to tease out the thinking behind what appears to be the Chief Executive having potentially 2 roles in that forum.
One of the ways of thinking around this area of health and safety, and this is sort of guided by some of the principles in the legislation, is that really to ensure a safe and healthy culture, we need to ensure that there's this kind of collaboration, consult and cooperation. So that might be a way of, modelling the committee sort of around that. So that's another way of sort of thinking about it, because I think it needs to be, we want to work very much the sort of unique roles of the Chief Executive, and there are unique roles of elected members in terms of their responsibilities. So I think what's key is that it's a collaborative, consultative process to make sure that we're having an organisation that's, promoting a really safe and healthy culture.
it's what allows this to work at the end of the day. What we
Yeah.
want is the most effective structure so the committee can do its job. Now, I just had one other question around, again, the terms of reference, the membership. We've got councillors and we've got external advisors. Is there any thought as to the numbers of councillors and the numbers of external advisors? Because later in the report reads as though there will be one external advisor, but that may not be the case according to the terms of reference. So again, just some commentary around perhaps the expected number of councillors or external advisors, or how we would arrive at those numbers.
I think that we would certainly want to have more than one external representative. I think that's where the strength is, to actually have some expertise from other organisations that have been involved in this. So certainly would see it more than one. I think you want to keep the committee relatively, sort of not too large as well, so that it can sort of be effective, because there's sort of quite a lot of operational aspects to it. So, we sort of take some guidance on that, but I think certainly more than one external, maybe 2 to 3.
Thank you.
Yep. Phil?
Thank you for the report, Emma and Sharon. So I've also got some concerns around, I guess, the role that the CE, and it wouldn't matter who the CE is with respect, it's more of a governance issue, in that clearly at times, if the CE is part of that decision-making committee, as against being an advisor, at times, and given that that everyone will want the committee to work on a collaborative basis, as you say, but there'll be times when, in fact, there are governance and management issues arising, especially, for example, that if some issues were to happen, in fact, it will be the CE who will be accountable to the committee. So I just wonder if you could comment on that.
I mean, I think that's a really a good point, and it's really thinking about where, and we're still working with the new legislation, sort of working through how that fits, and we have looked at some other councils' experiences. Some of them will put things through the Audit and Risk Committee, others have established an independent Health and Safety Committee. So I think it's a good point. So that's something for us to really consider, whether it's as an advisor or a voting member.
Thanks, Emma. And I've just got sort of one further...
Look, I made a mistake. I've been Googling the Audit and Risk Management Committee. So Carlene's just an attendant. She's not a member of the committee.
that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll take the CEO out of there, but leave in the expression that including the Chief Executive Officer.
My other point too, though, is that I think it's really good to have this discussion. I think it's urgent that we get this done. I'm still wondering, though, in fact, to get this right, if in fact this is something that we should ask the new council.
No, this is going to the new council.
It is?
Yeah. So
right.
we're providing feedback and advice. We're not going to sign off on the actual terms of reference. This is going to the new council, but I guess that we could have done this at a workshop, and but we've been invited to give feedback, so I think feedback we should give, and that's been very helpful.
Yeah.
Tim?
Look, health and safety committees aren't new. I mean, they're right throughout many organisations, you'd hope anyway. So the normal practice is that the reporting officer, irrelevant of their standing in the organisation, is not a member of the committee, because they're answering.
Yeah, we've crossed out CEO.
Okay, so it's right.
So we'll take, we'll amend it that this CEO is not a member of the committee for the new draft.
Yeah, you just need to take CEO out of membership, but leave in item 2.
Chief advisor.
Do people have a view whether the chair is appointed by the mayor, or they are appointed by the mayor? Unless overturned by the majority of the council.
Yep.
Is this a proposal to have a different mechanism for selecting a chair?
No, we were taking guidance on what's the normal mechanism, so that was advice that we got.
I just think that it doesn't require a reference, and then it's just the standard rules.
The standard process,
yeah.
So to, this was in response to the resolution to provide
Yeah.
the feedback. Do you want to recommend to the new council that they establish it, or do you think that the council have already done that?
Oh, what was the exact wording?
Right, so it comes from the Board of Risk, because the council considered
Yeah.
the establishment, and chief executive provided draft terms.
Yeah, okay, so the draft terms of reference, if you look at the key points on page 245, it says that the ARMC requested that council consider the establishment of a health and safety committee of council. The chief executive was to provide draft terms of reference in the appointment process for independent members with a view of establishing the committee in September 2016. Well, that's not going to happen. So we weren't able to get to the position where we would be establishing the committee prior to the election. So what we need to do is provide advice and just refer this to the incoming council with the recommendation that they establish a health and safety committee with some urgency.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So are there any other issues that people would like to provide feedback on? All right, so moved by Paul, seconded by Pauline. So we've got receive, review and provide, no, we don't need that, that the council note the draft terms of reference document and appointment process. And recommend to the new council that they establish a health and safety committee of council in line with the proposals. Yeah.
May I speak to it briefly?
So that be given priority in terms of urgency too? Should we?
As a matter of priority.
Yeah.
Jamie.
Yeah, do you mind if I speak to that briefly?
No, sure.
Great. Well, I think health and safety committees are incredibly important, and one of my pet hates is when you have an organisation when quizzed around their level of priority for health and safety or whether they have a health and safety committee. The biggest cop-out answer you can get is when they say, oh no, the whole board is the health and safety committee, because you know, when people say there's no right or wrong answers, or sorry, that's the wrong answer. Same as audit and risk. You can't say, well, the whole board is the audit and risk committee. You need to have that focus on it. So I've been a member of a health and safety committee for a company that's probably in a high-risk industry, you know, heavy engineering and heavy equipment and that sort of stuff. And I think the most important aspect of the health and safety committee is it's not around the lag indicators and all that sort of stuff and the monitoring, you know, that's part of it, but it's around embedding a culture, and that's always the challenge. So when there was talk of whether or not the chief executive is a member of it, I'm one of the biggest sticklers you'll find for the importance of good governance and governance versus management and where that fits so it's most effective. But I see this committee sitting very much in line and mirroring audit and risk, and I think having Carleen around that table in the capacity that she has been absolutely invaluable, because to truly understand what the risks of that organisation is, or what the risks are, and also what the opportunities are, having that chief executive around that table and a part of that body has been very, very beneficial, whether that's in the form of a non-voting member, whatever. But I think the Health and Safety Committee should mirror the Audit and Risk Committee, and that's how I really envisage it. So if it's as a non-voting member, look, that's fine, but I think it should probably follow similar terms of reference to Audit and Risk, because I think they're very, very similar. Anyway, with that being said, I think this is a step in the right direction. We've obviously got new legislation, and I know this is not a corporate organisation or a corporate entity with the same responsibilities for elected members, but that doesn't mean that we should take those responsibilities lightly, because this needs to be of top priority, and ensuring that we embed a culture of success and excellence with respect to health and safety is incredibly important. So this is a good step forward, and I'm happy to move it if it hasn't been moved.
It can't, because it's been moved and seconded.
Oh, well then I'll be happy to vote for it.
Paul, did you want to?
So, could I just clarify
Yep.
something? You clarified that the CEO was an advisor to the Audit and Risk Committee.
I've taken her out of the list of
No,
members.
but just to clarify, because it sounded like that she was a member of the Audit and Risk, and I was just wanted to clarify.
No, she's an attendance.
So principal advisor.
Yeah, I did come back and apologise because I made a mistake.
It sounded like that wasn't.
Oh,
So that's misunderstanding.
yeah.
What then, if I may, Madam Mayor, oh, sorry, Leanne, no. What is Carlene's? I know, that's why I quickly backtracked. What's Carlene's role under the terms of reference in audit and risk? Because nothing. She just attends.
She's a hugely valuable member of the committee, but doesn't actually have voting rights.
And are we going to mirror that with the
Yes.
Health and Safety Committee?
Yes, but she's not. But she's not listed as a member of the committee. She is in attendance.
Perfect.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's covered by point 2.
Well, yeah, great.
Seconders. There's Paul.
We got Paul and who seconded it? Pauline.
Thank you.
Yeah, I knew I had a mover and a seconder. Yeah. All right. So shall I put that motion? I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. And now we can go